Hello, and welcome to this very short webinar, which aims to cover key differences and questions around the second ACVVS 6-monthly reporting template, which has now been placed in each organisation's reporting folder. We will also take a quick look at the financial reporting template, which is filled out in July for the whole ACVVS year. My name is Jo Rees, and I'm one of the Community of Practice coordinators. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which this webinar was produced and pay my respects to elders past, present and future. First, let's look at the second 6-monthly template, which covers January to June 2024 and landed in your reporting folders on the COP during the week 22nd to 28th of April. Please keep in mind that ACVVS data will ultimately be viewed over the full ACVVS year, which runs 1st July to 30th of June. So it's important that the input data from the first 6 months is retained, and we are adding to it here. The department has deleted information that will change, such as written summaries and overall or total figures, like volunteer expression of interest. The information on each care recipient will remain, even if they left the programme during the first 6 months of the ACVVS year. Please do not delete any care recipients who have received any visits during the entire year. The second 6-monthly template is a copy of your first 6-monthly template, which has some amendments, such as extra columns to fill in. This is so you can count all your new visits that have taken place, add new care recipients who started receiving visits in the Jan to June period, and add any new volunteers to the Volunteer tab. You may also want to write something different or provide new information in the short summary section. I'll quickly run through all the specific changes that have taken place. To assist with clarity, the pointer will show which tab I am talking about as I mention it. Firstly, let's look at data that you are adding or that may change. In the tab labelled 6-month recipient, all recipient details, such as date of birth, have been retained. And total visit numbers from the first 6 months are now in the pink column at the end. For this Jan to June 6-month period, you will be entering the number of visits that have taken place by type, such as face-to-face, telephone. Look for the columns with the green heading to add new visits by type, and the total visits for this 6 months will autofill into the final green-headed column called Individual Total Visits To. Then the annual total for each care recipient will autofill into the pink column, adding this 6 months' visits to the first 6 months' visits. You may want to add or change some other columns. The residential aged care lockdown number of weeks could change. For example, if there is a 2 already in that column and there are 2 more weeks in this 6-month period, add the 2 and 2 together and change the 2 to a 4. Other examples of columns that could change if a care recipient moves from home care package to residential or exits the programme. But most information will stay the same. You will also add new care recipients for this 6-month period with all their data, including their number of visits, in each of the visit type columns. In the tab labelled 6-month volunteer, all volunteer data from the first 6 months has been retained. You just need to enter your new volunteers. Remember, we don't delete details of those who have left during the first 6 months because this report covers the whole year. Now we'll look at the data that has been cleared. In the tab labelled 6-month KPI report, the summary section has been cleared so organisations can enter their new summary for this 6-month period. In the tab labelled 6-month volunteer expression of interest, the first 6-month data has been cleared so that organisations can enter the data for this 6-month period. In the tab labelled 6-month compliance, the first 6-month data has been cleared so organisations can enter the data for this 6-month period. In the tab labelled 6-month consortia subcontractors, again, the first 6-month data has been cleared so the organisation can enter the data for this 6-month period. A few items to bear in mind. If you need more rows, on the Volunteer or Recipient tab, please contact the ACVVS inbox. That's acvvs@health.gov.au. Only use the available drop-down options when entering diversity, gender, exit, and exceptional circumstances. Please do not write in extra ones. If COLD is the drop-down code, please do not overwrite, for example, Italian, Vietnamese, or any other specific COLD community. As for the purposes of this report, COLD is the overarching category to differentiate from veterans, LGBTQI+, and so on. A full list of the applicable drop-downs for each category can be found in the KPI reporting instructions on the COP portal. Please review the top tips in the version number tab. They are short and very useful. Moving on to the financial reporting, this is for the whole 12 months, 1st of July 2023 to 30th of June 2024. The funding amount is what you were paid on 4th of July 2023 and 4th of January 2024 in total. Organisations must allocate each of their accounting grant expenses into one of the 5 categories. Coordinator wage, salary and training, including salary on costs, back office overhead and management costs, recruitment, advertising and promotion costs, volunteer costs, and other, which is all expenditure not included in the categories above. All allowable or eligible expenses must come under one of those categories. No additional categories are available. External accountants cannot be provided with access to the COP. They can prepare the category totals for auspice data reporting staff to enter. All reports, including financial, must be submitted by 31st of July 2024. Thank you for watching. Please contact your state network member if you have any queries.